and what the writing team has imagined based on these historical figures and events.
All right. If that's so, stop saying historical fiction. It's fantasy, okay?
He doesn't know that historical fiction and fantasy are interchangeable. He doesn't know, by definition, he is unaware that those two words are one and the same. This person has 74,000 people watching this video with the title of it being "We," as in I represent all Japanese people, are mad about a game where he doesn't understand the definition of something as simple as historical fiction and fantasy being synonymous with each other. This is your king. Yes! Yes! They said we should react to this. They said I should comment on this. They said I should make a reaction to this. And who am I to deny the people what they want? But first and foremost, if you're watching this and you're one of my supporters, this is not a green flag for you to go out and attack this creator. This creator, just like me, is putting information that they think is relevant to their viewership. My objective in this isn't to point out how terribly wrong this person is, even though they are very much wrong on a lot of things. My goal here is to teach people how to think just one step further, or even just to never take anything at face value. Always look a little bit deeper, right? But as it stands today, the record is shown. I have a playlist with a bunch of videos, a bunch of things. I've covered it to almost an enigma at this point. Like, it's mindless self-indulgence how much I've had to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadow and how the goalpost has moved, right? The goalpost first moved is, we've been waiting on this game called Assassin's Creed Red, which turned into Shadow. The game is trailered. It shows that you have two protagonists, a Japanese woman who's a shinobi, or whatever the correct term for a woman samurai is, because there's a bunch of purist ninjas in the comment section now. And then there's a African-American samurai, Yasuke. And it went from, we're excited for this game, to why come they didn't fairly represent this game, to, now the character's gonna have this and the character's gonna do that. And it's just, the goalpost kept moving. Then we got to see gameplay trailer, and the gameplay trailer was great. Goalpost moved again. Well, it's not going to do well, but we have canonical records, numbers to show that Assassin's Creed there's 24 games. You think that they're going to keep making this game if it didn't sell well? 5 million of Origin for Assassin's Creed was sold in Japan. Like, Japan is the third biggest gaming market per capita. There are people in Japan who alone have already pre-ordered this game. It was ranked number 1 the week it came out. So, like, there's this mindless self-indulgence about wanting to hate this game, and whatever reason, once it's being defeated, and I'll tell you how this is going to end. The game's going to come out. It's going to do gangbusters. It's going to have great reviews. It's not great reviews. It's going to have great numbers as far as people buying it, and that's the only number that matters. If people buy the game, the reviews don't matter. I'm here to tell you that straight up. If you don't know this, welcome to corporate America. Money talks, bullshit walks. The game is going to sell great, and then people are going to review bomb it. They're going to say it's this, it's going to say it's that, it's not this, it's not that. And so on and so forth. And then 5 years from now, some thought leader on YouTube is going to make a 48-minute long video called Assassin's Creed Shadow: The Rise and Fall of fake gamer outrage, right? And that's what I believe this commentary is. This creator, I don't really think he's angry about this game. I think he's using the opportunity to grow his audience, rightfully so. Just looking at his discography of work, he is not by any means or necessary an expert. Neither am I. But notice, we are mad. Japanese speak out, Racism in Shadows. And I thought for a fun game, I would mark down every time he said racism or used it incorrectly, every time he made a bad point, and every time he made a fair point. I think we'll just have some tickers or somewhere on the screen, and we'll just keep track of that. I think that'll be fun. Add a little bit of flair to viewing this. But while I'm not Japanese, and nor have I claimed to be more knowledgeable than a Japanese person, there are a lot of things you can fairly quickly look up on the internet in order to better understand things for context. But for him to make a blanket statement that he is the end all be all in this conversation does kind of smile in the face of hypocrisy and a little bit of, grandeur. The dude's smelling his fart a little bit, but he's not from my honest, humble look on it and what I found of him on the internet, he's not a person who makes content about the culture he's 100% Japanese, he claims, and I have no reason not to believe him, but he's very much into playing horror games, he's very much into playing video games, and his content does very well for the group that he's within. I mean, he has a higher consistent view rating than I do, and he has more subscribers, so there's something to be learned about, the content he's making. But without a shadow of a doubt, if his channel does take a turning point, and he does start outputting certain type of content, you best believe it's going to be because of this day where he got 73,000 views. And that's, clap that. Commendable. As a content creator, we all chase the bull. There's the setup. I know this was a little bit of a longer intro, but my goal here is to be as fair and balanced as possible, because I've reported on the news. People didn't like it. I told the truth. People didn't like it. I was satirical and a little bit mean. People didn't like that at all. And then I tried to empathize and say, maybe you guys just don't know. And they just proved that they're blissfully ignorant. So at this point, what am I doing it for? Is the madness not caught on? Have I not figured out that no one who is mad about this game is genuinely going to come up here with authentic things to say? No, I get it. I absolutely get it, right? I totally get it. People on the internet want to argue, and people on the internet think that the internet is real. No one that I've ever talked to on the internet has the same energy in person. It's just, that's not how you're built. But when you can hide behind your icons, it's easy to say whatever you want. Let's get into it. But before we start, he says the word racism a lot, and people have literally verbatim said what he has said in this video in my comment section. So I just want to make sure we're all clear on the definition of racism, right? Merriam-Webster dictionary definition: a belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human trait and capacities, and the racial difference produced on the inherent superiority of a particular race, right? That's what we have as a definition of racism. Now, this is a very broad swinging, but I would even extend this to prejudice. I would even extend this to discrimination based on socioeconomics and stuff of that nature. It is very broad weapon, but essentially, racism is the belief or the use of your race in order to show or garner superiority over another race. When he describes racism in this, what he's trying to describe is cultural appropriation, right? He's interchanging the words. Cultural appropriation is when someone takes your culture, usually in a bad light, and tries to claim it as their own or reinvent it or reintroduce it as their own. Notice how racism and cultural appropriation are far-fetches of what Ubisoft is actually trying to do here. But if you, once again, the objective of this video is to help you think just one step further. If you took the actual thought process to its final conclusion, you would find that, Ubisoft isn't trying to appropriate Japanese culture. That would be damn near impossible, seeing as how, once again, Japan is the third biggest gaming market in the world. They are well established. Jumpman Mario is literally the most iconic video game character in all of history. No one is going to dethrone Japanese people or Japanese culture in the gaming universe. But understanding that Ubisoft is a Western game being making games for a Western audience, you have to be able to recognize how important it is that they cater to their person they're trying to get the money from. Like, it's not a coincidence that Americans are going to buy Assassin's Creed Shadow more than anybody else in the world. The game was made for us. It's a Western game. But that doesn't mean that they should be careless, nor do I believe Ubisoft is being careless. But we'll get into that. But I just want to make sure we establish those things. Racism, in the sense that this individual is talking about it, is definitely off the wall. And it'll lend credence to when I later on talk about some of the things that he delves into that he is, one, not equipped to talk about, and two, he doesn't understand how he is falling into one of the famous tropes of racism, tokenism, and the ability to point out issues that you inherently benefit from because of your race. He doesn't understand how those concepts affect him because he's not educated on the matter, which, once again, I wouldn't expect him to be. If you're looking at me and wondering, why the fuck do I know so much about this? Well, I'm a political debater. I debate every Tuesday. Shout out to Icon if you want to see me debate. It's very easy for someone to gain a popularity by mentioning racism. It's very hard for those people to back it up, which he doesn't do a very good job of. But I digress. You guys are here to watch me react to this guy, but I feel like I had to set all this stuff up. This is going to be a long one, so if you're into my content, like, share, subscribe. Let's get into it. All the haters are usually gone by now.
I'm pretty pissed. And I really can't believe this is happening. And I really can't believe people don't see these things. You know, I've been a fan of Assassin's Creed. I really loved Assassin's Creed 2. And Assassin's Creed Origin is one of my best video games I ever played. It's amazing. And I was dreaming one day Ubisoft make Assassin's Creed set in Japan. Because ninja is amazing subject for Assassin's Creed. Because ninja is assassin and also spy. So it's gonna be great. I was hoping Ubisoft, they would do a lot of intense research, or even they hire some Japanese team, like a lot of Japanese group of people, work with them to historical accuracy. It's a response.
So to answer that first, the first thing he says, he wishes that Ubisoft had hired Japanese people to work on this. They took it a step further. Ubisoft literally built an office in Tokyo, Japan, in preparation of making this game. They have a studio there. A lot of what I'm going to be showing you is stuff that I hope he could, like, this is stuff that in the preparation of this video, it took me 23 minutes to find all the facts that I needed to for this. So forgive me if I sound condescending or a little bit annoyed, but the reason why I sound annoyed is because the basic research he's talking about is readily available. And I'll take it a step further. He said Assassin's Creed Origin was his favorite game. Hey, you see that statue? Isn't that from Assassin's Creed Origin, I think? In large part was responsible for making that game. Japan. This game, Assassin's Creed Shadow, is not out. No one has played it, no one has seen it. Yet people have such strong feelings about it, even though they like the previous products. That's like saying you don't like the Smash Brothers games because the roster got bigger. What?
Responsibility, you know, you gotta do. And I was believing they would do. But really? So Ubisoft?
And that's going to be I gave him a mark for that as racist. What do you mean, really? I'll just say something. And how do I dictate if something's racist? This is how I dictate if something's racist. Like, say, for example, we'll use black people, for example, this. If I invited you to a black cookout, if you wouldn't say or do the thing that you're proclaiming isn't racist at that cookout, full well knowing you'll make it out of there, then what you're probably doing or saying is racist. And for you to specifically say that this game isn't accurate to the history and culture and then plaster Yasuke's face up and say, really? That's racist. That's you taking ownership of your culture and disregarding its own history to make yourself feel better about the depiction of it. Yasuke is part of the culture. He is part of the history. There's no denying that. You can't fight that. So when you can't fight it, you try and gaslight us into thinking it's racist. You're taking on the traits of your white adjacent allies, and it's showing.
Announced new Assassin's Creed series, Assassin's Creed Shadow, set in Japan. It's not Japan.
It is Japan.
And the main character
is very strictly Japan. Where do you think it's being played at? Where do you think the game takes place at? They said it's Japan. I'm being petty. Let me stop.
character is not Japanese. But wait, I need to mention, we Japanese are not angry about non-Japanese main character, okay? And we are not
Naui is in the game. Naui, the female shinobi, is in the game. She is Japanese. And it's kind of hard to believe that you're not mad about non-Japanese characters when the only other non-Japanese characters at this point is Yasuke. It's hard for me to believe that when your opening line revolved around you making fun of Yasuke at the expense of racism. You see how, like, everything doesn't add up well for you? But carry on.
mad about the idea of bringing LGBTQ to the video game. I think we are more welcome that. We want to see more like a diversity.
So, yeah, and I agree. Diversity is better. Diversity is great. Inclusion is great. You'll never see me complain about it. What? An opportunity for more people that look like me to be in more mainstream things? Sounds good. But understand, they're not doing it because they want to see more black people or more LGBT. No, they're doing it because of money. There's been 23 odd Assassin's Creed games before this one. I've never played one. I've never thought of buying one. Want to know why? Because they never advertised to me. They've now decided to advertise to me. They're now going to make more money because making money is the objective of all companies. They're not here to... No company is woke, which is also just another racist term. No company is woke enough to say, we're going to forego profits to make a certain group of people feel better. They're doing it for money. And the sooner we figure that out, the sooner we can move off of this. But also, a lot of people were saying this in my comment section, saying that, oh, he's going to be gay. I hope his armor is the strongest one in the game, and that is the color of the pride flag. And I hope you have to wear it in order to gain all the stat boost from it. But also, since Odyssey and Valhalla, you've been able to pick your sexuality, you've been able to pick your gender. This is nothing new. They're angry about things that won't even affect them. But they're mad. But the truth is, they're not mad about this. They're mad that people other than them get to enjoy the game. And that is the takeaway you have to understand about this. Anyone who's angry about this game is mad that someone is happy to be playing it. And they're mad that in order for them to somehow enjoy this game, they have to take part in that grandeur or that idea. We had an article here. Yeah, Assassin's Creed Shadow protagonist can be LGBT. Yeah, this is perfectly fine. No one with a brain cell is gonna care about this.
Non-Japanese main character, okay? And we are not mad about the idea of bringing LGBTQ to the video game. I think we are more welcome that. We want to see more like a diversity, the real diversity, okay? Ubisoft, what you're doing is the fake hypocritical diversity, okay? And what you're doing, Ubisoft, in your new racist video game called Assassin's Creed Shadow is just you're arrogant. Arrogant.
He just called a company hypocritical and accused them of making a game due to fake diversity, right? Like, they're making this game because of fake diversity. but he provides no proof of that. Like, are we okay with people just being able to say whatever they want? Because if that's the standard, then, you know, and admittedly, maybe I am going a little stir crazy. It's not like he's a journalist. It's not like he's an accredited newspaper. It's not like he's a PhD or he has extensive study. The only thing he has going for himself is he has a platform and he's full-blooded Japanese, which is something to stand on. But just because you are born in it doesn't mean you were molded by it. You feel me? Bang.
I don't know where to start. We are mad about your arrogance. And you keep saying that historically correct or historically like following the kind of stuff.
This is another thing that they keep saying. There's a bunch of people out here who play these games and think that they're real, apparently. There's a bunch of people who are playing this game and think that Assassin's Creed is the end-all be-all for historical accuracies in video games. And that's just weird. That's super weird. At the beginning of every single Assassin's Creed game, one of these two messages will pop up. I think prior to 2021, this one shows up. It says, inspired by historical events and characters, this work of fiction, and just so we're all clear, fiction means not real, was designed, developed, and produced by a multicultural team of various religious faiths and beliefs. It was later updated to this. Inspired by historical events and characters, this work of fiction was designed, developed, and produced by a multicultural team of various beliefs, sexual orientations, and gender identities. No matter what anyone says, the moment they say that this game is historically accurate, I know that this person cannot read or has never played a game before. I've never played a game before, so you know I can read. So either the person can't read and is being disingenuous about playing the game, or they play the game and they purposely ignore this part. No one thinks Assassin's Creed is the authority on historical accuracy. And then people will say weird things like, oh, well, they used the Cathedral of Notre Dame to show accuracy. Yeah, they went out and did research and tried to make it as one-to-one as possible. But guess what? There is no part where you can jump off of one of the beams to do a double assassination. Like, they tried to make it as realistic as possible, but not everything is going to be one-to-one. They're allowed to take liberties. And we'll keep talking about this. The important part to take away is here is Assassin's Creed doesn't care about this, and neither should you. It's a video game. No one wants to play a historically accurate video game. Want to know why? Because history is pretty boring. How many of you guys... There's only a handful of people I know that got A's in history. And for a bunch of people who didn't get straight A's or have jobs in history, caring about this is mindless.
And it doesn't matter about your response, okay? Japanese started raising voice about, oh my god, Japanese is really kind. We used to be chill sometimes, which is very bad actually, but we're chill. But this, you crossed the line. Let's watch this, one of most ridiculous, arrogance, hypocritical interview I ever seen. Woo!
The story that we're telling is historical fiction. So
What is historical fiction?
history
Great question. I bet you he doesn't answer it.
and what we know of the
He didn't
history.
answer it.
What is historical fiction?
Historical fiction is set in a real place during a culturally recognizable time. The details and the actions in the history can be a mix of actual events and ones from the author's imagination. As they fill in gaps, characters can be pure fiction or based on a real person. Often it is both. Historical fiction. When you're not interested in being educated, you're only allowed to be dumb. So when he says stuff like this and purposely doesn't answer it, I have to believe he's only interested in being ignorant.
history and what we know of the history.
You don't know anything.
And then I think of it kind of like as a palette, where then the story that we write based on these events and what is known and needs to fit within that palette. So we can bring stuff from outside.
All right. They're using historical paint. So main character Yasuke, there's no any evidence that Yasuke was a samurai.
Okay. Lockley also explained that in Yasuke's time, the idea of a samurai was a very fluid concept. You don't have to possess any particular killing skills to be a samurai. The author said, anybody who took up weapon on behalf of the Lord could technically call themselves samurai, or could be called a samurai. This article is about the Netflix TV series, and it was published in 2021, so you don't have to worry about it being edited by Wikipedia or anything like that. This article has been out for a long time. Here we have another one. Though Yasuke was the only black samurai in Nobunaga's army, he was by no means the only African present in Japan. At the time, several hundred African people lived in Japan during the 16th century, says Doya. We only know about Yasuke. But if you're telling me that samurai had a fluid sense of word and people who bared arms for their master could easily be defined as a samurai, I am willing to bet there was more than one black samurai. But history is very fond of not documenting black greatness, black excellence. It's hard to find. Oh, this is from the Smithsonian. People who study history for a living, and their whole entire purpose is to better understand history so that they can speak on it intelligently. This one was written back in 2019, way before this. And this one's by the Times. So we have two authentic, peer-reviewed magazines, articles, with editors attached to it, researchers, PhDs. And I know some people are going to come here and probably say, oh, the Lockley guy, he didn't get his... Stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. You think someone got a degree someone took 4 years out of their life to get a PhD in feudal Japanese history, all just to tell a lie, to sell a book that didn't even make them $1 million?
There's no paint saying Yasuke, it was samurai. And also, let's go to Wikipedia. Okay, this...
First of all, gross. You're using Wikipedia? Are you a Destiny fan or something like that? Everyone knows Wikipedia is used to start your research. It shouldn't be the end of your research. Once again, my job is to get you guys to think just a step further. A step further. That's all I'm trying to get you to do. And that might hurt some of you guys who only have 2 brain cells. It might be difficult.
It's so wrong. Yasuke was a man of African origin who served as samurai. Let's go to the Japanese one, okay? It's Japanese history, okay? Trust the Japanese one, Japanese Wikipedia. There's no single word saying samurai. And there's no evidence. Where's the source? Where's this under discussion? Under discussion. Just please someone delete this. Okay, look. So this is 100% wrong.
So, and this is another thing that you gotta come to terms with if you're gonna watch this content. You have to understand that there are people who will not believe what they're being told. He just went to Japanese Wikipedia and they confirmed that he was a samurai. And in the box, there's a disclaimer basically saying that people are probably trying to edit this, but we've locked it. And he just cried out for someone to please delete this. When faced with facts and your opinions still matter, you're not allowed to argue anymore. But most people will because they don't know better. He's not equipped to have this conversation. And I would love to debate him. It wouldn't really be fair. It'd be similar to what happened to Joe Biden.
Served as samurai. No. In fact. Okay, Honnoji incident. Do you know samurai, after they're defeated, they commit seppuku, which is harakiri, meaning they unalive themselves, showing honor and pride. That's one of the most important things as a samurai, okay? And Yasuke, so Yasuke was working for Oda Nobunaga, this guy. This is true, according to the evidence. And when Nobunaga...
So he's saying it's true. And if you were working for Oda Nobunaga as an armed guard, he called you a samurai. So he's admitted to something that he is asking us not to believe. That it's delusion. It's the levels of it. Like within his own paragraph, he said the thing that he's trying to get you not to believe. Selective hearing.
Nobunaga was defeated. Nobunaga committed harakiri because samurai show their pride and honor. They unalive themselves rather than they get killed by others. That's
true. Some samurai did that.
Samurai. So Yasuke, when Nobunaga was defeated, Yasuke didn't do harakiri or seppuku. Yasuke escaped. So Corey, Yasuke is really, really disrespecting other samurai.
Okay. Yasuke didn't commit seppuku because he wasn't a real samurai. But he would only be required to commit seppuku if he was a samurai. But we only know he's a samurai because Oda Nobunaga made him a samurai. And Yasuke didn't commit seppuku. And there's reason to believe he probably didn't because we know that he was brought here through the Jesuits, which is a religion of Christianity. When Christianity was spreading around, and anyone who has looked at a Bible, the Ten Commandments, they know seppuku is a sin. And he was still a Jesuit for all intents and purposes because he went back to the ministry after his master was defeated. So it stands to reason, the reason why he didn't commit seppuku is because the first thing he learned was not to harm thyself. It was a sin. But that's not, I can't prove that. But that is taking it a step further, right? But he says that Yasuke not committing seppuku is by definition disrespect to all other samurais. Harada Sanosuke, another samurai who during his stay at the Matsuma, he was once ridiculed by one of the Matsuba servants who claimed that he was only a peon. He would not be familiar with the application of seppuku, so he immediately drew his sword and attempted it. However, the wound was superficial and he survived. This is what we were tying people to, right? This is a one-off, but he ended up using this battle scar to show his merit. Good for him. It seems like a lot of samurais back then were hopped up on that male testosterone bullshit. But for people who couldn't commit seppuku, including children, they had people who could decapitate them at a whim immediately. This is a great article. It talks about how a kid would put a fan to his stomach, or a dangerous criminal who you wouldn't trust with a weapon. You give them a fan, and once they put it to their stomach to disembowel themselves, they chop off their head. But I think the most telling is the fact that there's a festival. This is a YouTube video I found that talks about it. The founder of a swordship school, on 2 occasions, he owned a school. On 2 occasions, he dishonored himself and was ordered to do seppuku, and he didn't. That school still goes on to have a thing, and they even made a festival about it. You would think that eventually the samurais would have realized, hey, every time one of our masters takes an L, if we have to commit seppuku, there might not be very many of us left. Maybe we should stop doing this. It's funny in a I'm gonna cry type of way.
At that time, who commit harakiri, And then, who are you? Do you know anything about Japanese culture? Really?
And what the writing team has imagined based on these historical figures and events.
All right. If that's so, stop saying historical fiction. It's fantasy, okay?
He doesn't know that historical fiction and fantasy are interchangeable. He doesn't know, by definition, he is unaware that those two words are one and the same. This person has 74,000 people watching this video with the title of it being "We," as in I represent all Japanese people, are mad about a game where he doesn't understand the definition of something. As simple as historical fiction and fantasy being synonymous with each other. This is your king.
It's a Final Fantasy. If they say if this is fantasy, 100% like inaccurate, historically incorrect, we don't get mad. We are
They say that at the beginning of every single game.
not very okay, but we don't get mad.
That we've learned
he's
about
mad.
working with our researchers and historians and consultants.
What kind of historian and consultants they hired?
In order to make a broader contribution to society in response to changes in international affairs, and approximately 25 experts in the field of international relations, geopolitical area studies, social systems, governance, and innovation, we have conducted research and made recommendations, engaging intellectual dialogue with Japanese and overseas experts, and prompt human resource development, are registered as researchers at IH House alphabetical order. You could hire these people. You could hire any one of these people. They can connect you. It's not that hard to believe. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. Of course, they have access to some of the greatest and brightest minds in the culture. It's almost sad to see how hard he's trying to make you angry about something that you don't have to be angry about.
Stop. This
Go.
is Suzuki, the plants. They're gonna be like this in like September, and then
I actually gave him a point here about fair point, that if this is true, if what he's saying is true, and as we can probably tell by now, there's a lot of things he doesn't know, then this is a gripe to have. But also, I'm not going to sit here and argue about grass. If you ever find yourself arguing about grass in a video game, it's time for you to log off and go touch some grass for real. He needs to touch some grass. I didn't care to look this fact up. I'll give him this point.
which is very important in Japan. What kind of historian are they?
So actually very little is known about Yasuke, which is...
This is so arrogant. If they don't know, don't do it. Really. We are first looking for someone who could be our samurai. In other words, someone who could become our eyes despite not being Japanese.
Okay, I don't know if he understands the context of this. So, if you think about samurais, of course you think about Japanese or Asian individuals. So, coming from a Western culture or a Western demographic, a lot of those stories have already been told. A lot of those stories have not only been told, there's history that people can heavily lean on and rely on to tell those stories. In the grand scheme of historical fiction, being able to take liberties with something that is so well documented makes it hard for someone to create a samurai in the Western world. Furthermore, if you make one up, then the question becomes, okay, which parties do he align himself with? What order does he align himself? Once again, tying him to a thing. It would have been easy for them to pick a different samurai from Oda Nobunaga's clique, but would it have been any more interesting than Ghost of Tsushima, Sekiro Die Twice, Ninja Gaiden, or a plethora of other ninja video games that have come out throughout the past years? No. They all have a virulent similarity to them, and the fact of the matter is, we've already heard this story before. And if there's one thing I know gamers can't stand, is repetition. This is the reason why Spider-Man 2 for the PlayStation 5 didn't sell as well as the first one. It's because we've already seen this before. Clear direction and innovation will trump any video game story. They're taking a chance in doing something new, and people are mad about it. Yasuke is not well known. That lends credence to us to manipulate and take free range on whatever we want to do with him. Have at it, Hoss. No one's feelings are going to be hurt except for people who don't want to see Yasuke. I've had people say that he should have been the villain of the game. He could have been another side character. It's just more whistle blowing bullshit about your dissatisfaction with seeing black people well represented in a video game. Yasuke was a real person. He's as Japanese as the culture is, and you have to deal with that because that's what the history books say. Not us, not Ubisoft, but the history. So it's hard pressed to understand why he missed this concept. And it's probably an easy concept to miss if you've never created anything, right? If you've ever, I've written a comic, I'm writing a comic book. I was a ghost illustrator for a bunch of comic books. I know how difficult it is to create something out of nothing. But it's far more interesting to have creative liberty with a character that is less known and give it your own twist. If the story's good and it's of quality, it shouldn't matter that it's not historically accurate. Because no one plays a video game to get edutainment. They play it to have fun.
This is racist as we are first looking for someone who could be our samurai. In other words, someone who could become our eyes despite not being Japanese. Mara, if you believe racism is bad things, and then if you don't see racism in this video game and this Ubisoft interview and their response, you are racist, really, and very hypocritical. This is insane.
Just because I know it's going to piss some of you guys off, for the record, black people can't be racist.
And then an Ubisoft CEO and is saying widespread backlash against Assassin's Creed Shadows, calling it malicious and hateful.
He's privileged. He doesn't know any better. He doesn't understand. Come on down to my comment section. Or go take a look at my Twitter feed. I've posted a few of them where I've shown people being malicious and hateful because all I said is I can't wait to play this game. People have used derogatory terms, hateful terms, threatened me because I said I liked the video game. He's privileged. His race shields him from that. He doesn't understand that. He's not aware, or if he is, he's being blissfully ignorant, that there have been bomb threats to gaming studios. People have sent envelopes of disembodied animals. They shut down a server or something like that, and they doxed everybody in the company, from janitors all the way up to the CEO. People who didn't even touch the game. He hasn't experienced violence, therefore it doesn't exist for him. He's not proven to be an ally. He's gonna say he wants diversity and he's gonna want. No, you don't. You want to feel good about the games you're playing, even if it means hurting someone in the process.
I'm gonna translate some of the comments. The Japanese voice on the Assassin's Creed trailer, they are putting Chinese subtitle.
This one was weird to me because once again, you get to pick the subtitles that you want to see. So I don't know how I couldn't prove this, and it doesn't help his argument because the version of this he's showing is written in Japanese. I wasn't able to prove this, but for the best of my terms, this person, Current Swan 2791 on Reddit, posted 17 days ago, Ubisoft has added Chinese subtitles to the Japanese only trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadow, and he posted that to Assassin's Creed, and they blocked it and literally said, "Yeah, we post subtitles to all things eventually." Maybe there is some truth to this, but if this is the hill you want to die on, seppuku, go ahead, go for it. But once again, just mindless self-indulgence.
Can you believe it? Okay. But I believe this one had Japanese subtitle in the sub. Okay, this one. Ubi is a racist company that discriminates against Japanese people. Obviously. So this at Ubi.
No proof, no records, just some random comment in the and his only take, his only push. Honestly, what?
Discriminating against Asian to elevate black people is wrong. I 100.
Here goes another horrible talking point from your white counterparts. Whenever another race is perceived as getting a leg up, instead of you to celebrate their come up, you conflate it with your downfall. Japanese people were not hurt because an African was represented in a video game. No political imbalance happened in the world because Yasuke is getting a video game, right? 1,000 Japanese games. Like, no one said once Assassin's Creed Shadow comes out, we're taking Ghost of Tsushima off of PlayStation Network. No one can play it again. This is a conflation. This is a horrible delineation, sort of a delusion almost, of, once again, the falsification of victimhood upon yourself. No African American came to Japan and said to all Japanese people, you must play this game. They don't understand racism. Not from this game.
It's saying it seems Japan is not included in the concept of diversity. At least this.
Just to be clear, Naoe is in the game. Naoe is a Japanese woman in the game. You can play as her for the whole entire game if you want. I think Naoe got off easy, to be honest. The fact that she doesn't get nearly as much heat as Yasuke is kind of... I'm jealous. I wish that they were more sexist than they were racist in this situation. Because damn, man, just leave Yasuke alone.
I'm angry, but this comment is so funny. Why do we have to be killed in the rhythm of the rap?
His laugh is annoying. Why do you have to be killed in the rhythm of the rap? Samurai Shampoo. Nani? It's amazing how much actually Asian culture borrows from the black community. Samurai Shampoo, easily one of the greatest samurai animes ever put to production, following Mugen, Jin, and Fu, two samurais. They have nothing. Nugis, I believe he passed away, but his soundtrack is goated as one of the greatest pieces of art to ever be put to animation in music form. Black people in Japanese culture and Asian culture is very much welcomed. That's why they felt comfortable putting it in there. Because blurs exist. Right? Because Tekken's 8 director responds to many fans asking for Waffle House. Okay, I will only ask this once about the request. Why do some communities, he's talking about black people, send me requests for Waffle House? For all you guys that don't know, Waffle House is a place where a lot of fights happen. And in the black community, we tend to go here to eat horrible food after a long night of partying. And sometimes people want to settle their differences here. It's a staple. So a bunch of people asking from the culture for him to add Waffle House to the game. We're in the culture. We are part of the culture. Here's another list of animes that have great hip-hop black music. No one seemed to care. Only made the TV show or whatever they were watching so much better. So they get to pick and choose when they're upset about something, right? This image of him laughing, it just doesn't sit well with me because it's a form of disingenuous behavior. You're trying to downplay the fact that you don't benefit from our culture. That our culture doesn't enhance other people's culture. You're ignoring the fact that we contribute to cultures. It's disheartening. And once again, he's doing this to 70,000. He sent this video has been seen by 74,000 people. And this is the way you want to be portrayed? Laughing at the contributions of black people to your culture in a positive light? Cool.
Why do we have to be killed to the rhythm of rap? Racism toward to the recent African descendant people. This game only sees Yasuke as a black person.
Everywhere I've seen the promotion for this, they've addressed him as the black first Japanese samurai. They acknowledge that he was a slave, but more than likely a military orderly, because Jesuits weren't allowed to have slaves. So he was pretty much a free roaming man. His story is going to be told. No one has played this game. They have the liberty to tell the story they want to tell. Yet here someone is complaining that, they're only picking him because he's a black guy. And that's all he is. No, that's all you think he is. But even without playing the game, we know tons of things about him. But people's willfulness to be ignorant is truly eye-opening. Like, never take for granted how much people are going to try and sell you that you're crazy, right? Because he's going to sit here and have a heart-to-heart moment saying, wow, this really impacted me. Really? Remember, in the beginning of this video, you said they're going to make the game about a black person because you believe that's all he is. And for some strange reason, he's in the way of your idealized version of this game.
True. This is deep. This is really good comment. Oh my god. I feel Yasuke now.
Oh.
Yasuke really had their own struggle.
Remember, this is the dude that was literally laughing about drums being added to a battle sequence. This is the guy that was laughing. He's really hurt now.
I really like 80s American ninja movies, which is very inaccurate, ridiculously fake. And most Asian actor and actress are not Japanese, and they don't even speak Japanese.
Notice, and when people ask the question, why am I as an Asian person, why am I being equated as to being equal to a white person, or why am I being called racist as if I am a white person? It's because of comments like this. He is laughing and aggrandizing himself with his white counterpart because they whitewashed him out of his own genre, and he's happy about it. He welcomes it. I loved it. He admits they weren't even real Asian people. Like, he's the type of person that was okay with the dude, that white guy playing Genghis Khan. Like, you are okay with yellowface. That's what you just said, bro. You, as an Asian man, just admitted, I'm okay with yellowface. I'm not okay with blackface. And that's the difference between the two of us. One of us wants to ingratiate ourselves. You woefully want to be in the likeness of your white counterpart. And I'm perfectly fine not being accepted by my white counterpart. That's what makes us different.
But I enjoy it. I love it. Especially Ninja 3. It's amazing game. No, amazing game. Amazing movie. Do you know why? I feel respect. I feel love. Japanese horse at that time were very short. Super short. So this is inaccurate.
Yeah. But Yasuke was 6'2", you dumbass. Like, I'm starting to get annoyed. He's nitpicking. The size of the horses were all small. Did you see all the horses back then? Did you see every horse? Yasuke's 6'2". If his horse is 4'11", he's going to be walking the horse instead of riding the horse. Are you kidding me? That's what he said he wasn't mad about it, but of course let's say he's right. This is where the historical fiction comes in place. Hey, we're gonna make some of the horses bigger. Why? That's not historically accurate. Well, Yasuke is 6'2", and we don't want him walking everywhere, so we need him to be able to fast travel on horses. Oh, okay. You see how that just makes sense?
You wear own armors only for war.
It's a video game, bro. Yeah, it's a video game. No one really cares that he's not dressed appropriately for the time of day. Grand Theft Auto, you have 700 guns on you at one time and no one bats an eye.
Hey, go back. Why are you bowing? Why they are bowing?
Why are they bowing? Samurai means the one who serves the master. Although the samurai were the elite warrior class, the meaning of the word is not warrior. It is the path. In the past, there was a social hierarchy in Japan, and the samurai was class, and the samurai class was on top of that chain. Commoners had to bow in front of the samurai and avoid eye contact. This is from the Kino tea ceremony, Wakamiku. They talk specifically about samurai in feudal Japanese culture. So when the question is asked, why are they bowing? You want to know, I might sound very uninterested in this because in the process of debunking this dude, I've become more knowledgeable than this dude. And I don't know how much of important stuff I had to delete from my memory to make space for this shit. The reason why he's mad they're bowing is because he's a black man. Why are you bowing? He's Japanese. He should know this. There's no way in hell some random dude on the internet is now better at his culture than he is. But that's the special divider, I guess, of the internet. It gives everyone the capability of being an SME. Subject matter expert. For the people in the back. And he finds it funny that he's so woefully ignorant.
More division among the people here.
Wait, this game depicts Yasuke as like a justice and the other Japanese samurai at that time as evil or something?
More corruption.
What do you mean corruption? That's a civil war era. There's no corruptions.
He doesn't think that corruption takes place during civil wars.
They're fighting every day. Corruption happened after you establish something. This era is...
He thinks that governments need to be established for corruption to actually take place in the streets.
Stop bowing!
He's so mad about it.
Okay, 808 and 909, that kind of beats. It's a Japanese innovation.
He just tried to claim hip-hop beats as a Japanese innovation. Watch him walk this shit back.
But culturally developed by African Americans.
So, is it your innovation or is it made by us? Why did you feel the need to insert yourself?
Yasuke is not African Americans. Ubisoft... Oh.
This game is being made for the Western audience. You said it yourself. It's a Western game. The thing about it is, he's not even good at remembering shit he said. Though I was going to try and finish this, but if you could probably tell by my demeanor, I am physically in pain right now watching this. I've watched this twice now, and I'm in physical pain because I know for a fact that this guy is going to make more of this content because it's the only thing on his channel that has over 10,000 views. He's going to keep making stuff like this. And I don't know how long this grift is going to last for him. You know, I wish him luck and stuff like that. I hope that he is simply being a grifter and rage baiting people into this. But for me to take him serious, I feel like I've done myself a disservice. I have hurt myself. Psyduck, confusion. It hurt itself. I am a victim here. Because I tried to make sense of something that was clearly not worth my time, energy, or space. And dare I say, I apologize to the people that made it this far. I thought this would be a good idea when I first started, but now that I'm at the end of it, I couldn't even finish it. It's just not what it is. It's fake outrage, it's ignorance. It's a clear, disingenuous take on things that he doesn't really care about. Later on in the video, he goes on to admit that he's going to still buy the game, and he's professing that he wants people to cancel this game. If they don't cancel it, he will buy it. And keep in mind, he wants them to cancel it because he believes Ubisoft didn't do enough to do research and take care and fairly represent the game. In however long this video is going to cost, he said more false things than ever. I'll snap, and the final totals for all of the racist things, the things that he incorrectly labeled as racist, all the good points he actually made, and all the incredibly bad points that he made and didn't back up. I'll put a clicker up there for you. He didn't do basic research to make this video. But if this has proven anything to me, and probably is the lesson I need to take away from here, is it's the internet. No one really cares. They don't care about authenticity. They don't care about research. They don't care about knowledge. They just care about being right and having the last word. A lot of people in my comment section depict this same type of behavior. And why wouldn't they? Look at the people they're getting their information from. Neither here or there. Like I said, it isn't my goal to shit on this guy. He's a great creator. He's just not in his lane. And am I going to sit here as a Nigerian American and proclaim that I know more about Japanese culture? No. But will I sit here and say that I was able to debunk 90% of the nonsense he was talking about as a Nigerian American watching a Japanese American individual? Yes. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, because this is the same dude that claimed that he is speaking for all of Japan. I'm not speaking for all of Japan. I'm talking to a bunch of strangers. And I'd really appreciate it if you like, share, and subscribe. This took a lot out of me. Y'all hit up the Patreon. Do y'all want to see me do more of this? Let me know. Comment section below. Appreciate you. Don't come in there acting dumb. I will ban you. No, I'm not going to ban you, but I will troll you.